Very good morning to all the fellow human beings in the world. This exercise of mine is out of my inner call to share my sentiments, my opinions on how badly we have been living for the last 25, 30 years, especially because of the overdose of violence and all sorts of excesses in our cinemas, films, media, and public gatherings, as if violence is the only means to achieve goals, as if road rages are the only uh, emotional uh, fights to get scores settled, as if human beings cannot live peacefully through negotiations and talks and wider understanding of one another's needs. As a human being, looking forward to or eager to have a peaceful life, not only for myself, but for all the human beings, for most of the human beings, because all the human beings may not have the equal share of peace in life, because that depends on so many factors that I don't have time and I don't have so much expertise in revealing them. But overall, life has to be on the peace side. Life has to be on the side of accommodation. Life has to be on the side of civility, courtesy, and on the side of what is generally considered to be graceful, to be sweet, and to be uh, uh, really heart soothing, mind soothing. I have I have the memory of reading some of the lines from John Keats in one of his poems, and he talks about how modern cinemas, modern films have been the casements for the show of vulgarity and violence. Vulgarity and violence, the filmmakers, 95% of them, they think that these are the advertisements for them. If their films are aggressive, violent, and vulgar, crowds would come. And that is a reality. In the developing world, you experts, people say that about 60% people are still illiterate. I don't mean that people having certificates of school education or college education or university education, these people are educated. And those who have never attended schools or colleges or universities, they are uneducated. My definition or my uh, take on this education is that it is to be had from nature. It is to be had from the upbringing of the family. Education only wants us to be productive. Education only wants to be aware of the evils, aware of the negatives, and then to be having courses towards the positives. That is education which makes us tolerant, which makes us good speakers. Though the education that makes us good thinkers, the education that makes us believe and practice the principle of live and let live. But then, education that is being provided these days, that education is nothing but a byproduct of traditional business, commerce, and trade. People selling eggs, they make profits. People having eateries, they make money. And when they have lots of money, They supplement that amount of their money earned through unfair ways. They take loans from the banks. Loans from the banks are not given to the deserving, creative people, those who don't have assets generally, but those who have potential to use their talents, their skills, their goodness to make a living, and also to save part of the living, part of the earning to pay off the loans. But loans are given to those who are habitual defaulters. You see all over the world people who are very cunning, very dastardly, and very bad sort of business people, industrialists, manufacturers, traders. They get loans and then they flee their countries where they live. They go to other countries and see the irony. There are many countries in the world, particularly in the West, the so called developed countries, that harbor the criminals. One place comes to my mind right now, and that is in Asia, and that is Dubai, UAE, United Arab Emirates, or whatever. They say, according to paper or according to what is flashed on the media, that about 30% to 40% of the criminals, smugglers, thugs, murderers, wanted mostly by the international police, these people are sheltered in Dubai. Their headquarters are there in Dubai, and they run their, you can say, uh, industries for extortion, for all sorts of excesses on the law-abiding people or the people who are rich and rich by merit or whatever. Even if they are not rich by merit, it is not their right to extort them. It is the duty of the wings of the government that those people who don't pay taxes according to the laws and those who have lots of black money, these people are answerable to the offices. And then they give an account of their unaccounted wealth. And they should be persuaded. And if persuasion fails, then they should be lawfully forced to part with the money that has to go to the government treasures or the public treasures by way of taxes. That is not happening. I started talking about cinemas and films and too much of exhibition of violence and vulgarity. And we all know that the people who act in the films, they may have started their life as a coolie, as a bus driver, as a criminal, and then circumstances favor them to become. Because if you have certain physical features that suit the industries of exhibition, that suit the media and show businesses, then they are selected. And then and they glamorize negativities. Criminals are presented as bosses, as financiers to the politicians. Criminals having good bodies and having very cunning mind, they come together to make lots of money through extortion. And in most of the films, you see that you have haunts of the criminals, and they have connections with the politicians and the police, and they can do anything. They can suppose kidnap a school-going girl, or they can kidnap a village girl, or anyone they want, and they can do excesses on such people, kidnap people. They can even demand ransom from their parents, and they are shown as if they live in great style, and they have people around them who are at their disposal, and the common people are afraid of them, and this they take as their gain, that common people are afraid of them. When they walk out, when they drive out, nobody dares to look at them, and nobody dares to speak against their excesses. All people flee the scenes of crimes, and policemen habitually come late because they know that they are going to do excesses, and they get the cuts, they get commissions. And policemen, in most of the developing countries, even in the developed countries, they are recruited not because of their tolerant behavior, civic, suppose, features of character, but they are recruited because they are capable of bribing or threatening the government, or they have a political say, or their political bosses recommend them to be recruited. Especially in India, India is not as big a country as America in terms of area. It is not as big as Australia, not as big as Brazil, not as big as, let alone Russia, because Russia is the largest country in the world, not even China. But India's population is burgeoning. I am from India, speaking from Calcutta, one of the biggest cities of India. And I see, I have traveled to other places also, but I see that everywhere in India, it is, it is the call of the negatives. People who have lots of money, they make films and they flaunt that, well, this film is made on the investment of 20 crore or 200 crore or 500 crore, and so-called actors and actresses who bear their bodies, and they, you can say, what you call, they excite, they titillate the young people, mostly urchins, mostly cab drivers and truck drivers. I don't say cab drivers and truck drivers are bad people. I only mean to say that, well, most of them, they don't have interest in humanities. They don't have their mind developed. They have not had good education. They think that eating, drinking, and being merry, these are the only objectives of life. They smoke, they drink, they drive rashly, they abuse people, they kidnap people. Means crimes are shown in the cinema to be paying. It's a different fact that at the end, or towards the end of the cinema, they seem to be giving some sort of poetic justice to the characters. Those who are villainous, they are punished, but that is only for a second. On 5 seconds, you saw that they are being handcuffed, taken to the police stations. Even during those scenes, these people, they are shown smiling and confident and making gestures, are abusing policemen and threatening them that how long they would be able to keep them inside the bars, because they would come out the very day they are put inside, because they have the political bosses, and they work for them during the elections, or even when there are no elections. They extort people and they make money, and they share that money with the political bosses. See, how can you expect humanity? How can you expect a society? How can you expect a country to be living in peace and to be having prosperity? Because the creative, the productive people, the inventive people, they are shocked. Unless they are, you can say, they have a stake in the negative activities. Sometimes you have a stake in the negative activities because you get material gains. And sometimes you also happen to be helping them indirectly by not going against them, by not having a kind of unity among the common people against the excesses, against the what you call atrocities done by the bad people. And cinemas, at home also, you have electronic gadgets, you have OTT, I don't know the full form. So you have cinema theaters, you have places everywhere, violence. That they say that living relationships are shown, and you glamorize them. Oh, life is heavenly for them, because without getting married to someone, they are living as if they are married people, and they smoke, they drink, they dress in a queer way, strange ways. They don't dress as if they are normal human beings. No, you dress to cover your bodies. You dress yourself with good cottons, or good, suppose, textiles, or good dresses that are comfortable. You dress as models too. And who are these models? They take money. The products that they model, these products become extremely expensive as they reach the consumers. And these people are paid, and the payments made to these models or these advertising companies or to other agencies and organizations, these costs are added to the manufacturing cost, or even the retail prices are enhanced so many times. Earlier, prices would increase once in a year, or twice in a year, or once in 2 3 years. These days, every day they say you go to buy some flowers for decoration of your house or for worshipping or for whatever. And every day they say, oh, today the flower market is very high, as if stock markets, that fluctuations of the values of shares and stocks and all that. Every day they say, potato you buy, vegetables you buy, things you buy, and every day the prices go up. And once they go up, they don't come down. Even if they come down, suppose by 5 rupees, 2 rupees, and sometimes they tell you that, well, you buy in stock, otherwise the prices are going to be higher than what you consider to be skyrocketing. Prices of things will be more skyrocketing in the coming days, and you you do some extra shopping, fearing that, well, salt, if salt sells at the rate of 100 rupees per kg, or suppose vegetables sell 500 rupees per kg, how would you live? So you do some extra, you can say, purchases, even when you don't have sufficient money. You borrow from others, or you do whatever. So coming to the point I wanted to raise through my speech, through my stream that is going on now, uh, these points are the violence and vulgarity, because young people they imitate, they copy. They think that those who smoke cigarettes, those who drink a lot, those who tease girls, those who kidnap, they live a stylish life. They have a great life, and life anyway is to end one day. If life's end is death, then why not live so-called stylishly before you die? You die natural death, or you die by the guns of the police in encounters. And many things are obvious uh, in this suggestion that live life as boldly, or as much with as much satisfaction as you can. And you come into relationship, you commit, suppose, all kinds of crimes, you break up, you get into other kinds of, you can say, relationships, and then you get murdered or you murder, and that is because glamorized in the films and all that. A bad person, he becomes the city councillor. A bad person becomes the minister. Even if he doesn't become the minister himself, he keeps the ministers under his control because he finances their elections. And nobody can stand an election or fight an election in a country like India if you don't have money. Even a municipality seat candidate spends, and he speaks about his expenditure. Oh, for the dish, I spent 1 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore. Forget about the expenses that people who entered parliament of the country or the state legislatures forget about their, you can say, cost, because they don't speak truly, but the costs, you can say, are so high that you can't even imagine. And once they come into power, they start extorting people, or they start doing all sorts of negatives to bring back the money that they had spent, and and life remains hellish. It is the law-abiding people. It is the people who want beauty in life. It is the people who want peace in life. It is the people who want the world to live in amity. It is the people who want the world not to go into wars, not to have one-upmanship, not to have negative rivalry, have competition at work, have competition at excelling, but that doesn't happen. Competition, even our education system is such that you are called smart if you are able to cheat more people. The more people you cheat without the people cheated, knowing that you are a cheat, that is your education. If you speak straight, you don't have education. If you speak your frustration, just when you can't control it, because you are genuinely concerned about the frustration that has been caused to you because of unfair means in the selection of candidates for the jobs. Teachers, you see, in West Bengal, for the last many months, those who couldn't spell their names, they were selected as teachers at whatever level, primary level, upper primary level, secondary level. And why? Because they could pay the money, because they could easily get the money by criminal activities, and ministers are there, and they are called leaders. And cinema actually touches on all the spices that happen to rake them money. Full houses, a good film. Remember, or you can mention one of the stories by uh, this Chekhov, Darling, Anton Chekhov, Darling. And in that story, and there is a nice person, and he wants to make people uh, have enrichment in terms of culture, spirituality, or gentlemanliness. And he puts up, he hires a theater and puts up a very good, suppose, play, but doesn't no, he doesn't get anything. Not even 10% of the seats in the theater get, you can say, filled, because people have been used, they have been fed with vulgarity and violence. So the plays or the cinemas or the films that exhibit lots of flesh, lots of prostitution, lots of violence, lots of aggression, lots of sexuality or sexually suggestive scenes or explicit scenes, means something like what happens in pornography. The more pornographic your films are, the more people will come to see. And the more people come, you rake in more money. And the government doesn't mind. Censor boards and all that. These censor boards, they are, you can say, led by people who believe in a complete expression of speeches, even in the films, implicit or explicit abusive languages, bearing of the bodies. You show your body organs in such devilish manner, and the more you are able to do that, or you become extremely shameless. You don't have any. You become worse than animals. As animals, suppose, have to procreate and they do whatever they like, whatever stimulus comes to them. Uh, Such scenes are, you can say, shown or sought for the audience, for the spectators. And people, in a minute, you have millions of people. As you see, that if you have a good song, a good version, a holy song on the YouTube or anywhere, they call Instagram or whatever other media that you have, you don't have any listener. A good speech that you make for society to be peaceful, to be righteous, to be decent, to be civilized. This is civilization, it is artificial. Let them live like animals. Let them live naturally. Let them have, you can say, sex that they want to have on the roads, because if they do, they are bold people. They are the real artists, because they don't hide anything. uh, uh, See, civilization lies in hiding a bit, hiding not negatively but positively. You are very hungry and you are asked to have something, and you say, no, I am not hungry. Why? Because you are civilized. You know that other people are hungrier than you and they need the food. You are asked because you have, and those who don't have, they are never asked if they need anything, if they need to be fed. You are a civilized person, you are in need of borrowing money, but you want to, you can say, cut out on your coffee, you want to cut out on your taxis, you would like to walk, you can say, 5 kilometers on foot, but you would like to borrow money, because if you borrow, you have to pay it back on time, which you think you won't be able to do. So if you are a civilized person, you go into some sort of suffering, you bear with the, you can say, what you call, challenges or some discomfort, but you don't go borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and then you can say getting lost somewhere and not traceable, and the people who lent you, they feel cheated. This is civilization. Civilization is this, that you speak nicely, and not nicely to cheat, but speaking nicely gives you satisfaction. If you speak nicely to other people, then other people think, oh, this is the way to speak to people, and they also speak back. If we are rough, then people who see us in roughness, we they become rough, because they think that that is the way people live roughly. uh, you talk about a good place, you talk about a bad place. A good place, why do you want to live in a good place? Because you don't have quarrels, you don't have violence, you don't have shooting, you don't have threats to your family members, you don't have worries about your sister getting kidnapped, your women folk of the family getting disturbed. This is civilization. No life can ever be possible if that life has to be good, sweet, and that provides peace of mind, that provides you satisfaction, if it is not restraint. Restraint is very essential. Uh, I want to score a goal, but I have to score a goal by my good play. I can't force a goal on the opponent. I cannot use unfair means to score a goal and to have the credit for scoring that goal. That is not all right. Everybody has to, you can say, walk along the paths that are righteous. We have to be abiding lawfully. We have to be law-abiding citizens. So the films and the cinemas, they exhibit too much of violence, too much of sex, too much of vulgarity, and the more we see such films, the more vulgar we become, the more criminal-minded we become, the more violence comes into our ways of life, and this is good for no one. Even violent people, vulgar people, they come to meet with justice, but it takes time. So why not live peacefully? Why not live cleanly? Uh, you see that prime ministers and presidents of different countries, they are jailed. And why are they jailed? Because either they are, suppose you can say, implicated in false cases, or cases against them are genuine. They are the defaulters, and they are the economic offenders. They have, you can say, taken away the money of the treasury for their own selfish interests, and that's why. So the more people are doing the same thing, then where is the faith? Where is the faith in the leadership of politics? Uh, because faith begets faith. If good people come into politics, and most of us are good, then our representatives are also good. If most of the people in our society bad, then their representatives are also bad. And bad people, bad representatives, everything gets into hellish situation. More good people, more good representatives, and more good results. And that way society can be better. Even in the newspapers and media, electronic media, people working, they make use of bad language. Take the example of calling somebody a butcher, calling somebody, suppose you can say what you call, if a person is very, you can say what you call, very nice, very attractive, then you call him killer, that woman killer or man killer, all kinds of icon. And icon for what? Icon for goodness or what? Someone, why do you need people in the films like what you call bouncers and all that? When a certain actor is famous, he has lots of money, that he has around him bouncers and all that. So the young people think that to be a bouncer is an opportunity to be close to that so-called star. Such people are called stars, who have lots of money, and they are the bad people. They are the rogues of society. They, when they don't have money, they would like to have a sliced a loaf. They would like to eat sliced bread, but when they earn lots of money, then they just ostentatiously they flaunt their wealth, and they do whatever they like. Some of the people, they even smoke the tobacco that is filled or rolled up in the currency notes of high dominations, and just to show to the world that they are rich. Not good. Regulation has to be there. Society has to be civilized, and those people who are in the lead, they have to be sacrificing, they have to be living plainly, they have to give models, examples to others, that even if you have so much of money, put the money to good uses, put the money to be used for by trusts that are there to help the deserving people, good people. Loans should not be given to defaulters or those who are dishonest. Loans should be given, financial aid should be given to those who are, you can say, what you call, disciplined, and who understand that they should earn and they should work hard to make a living, and also to be able to pay the loans back. Uh, Certain examples have to be set. These things that I speak, I feel that many people would not like my speech. They would not have any interest in my speech because I'm talking of moralities, I'm talking of goodness. Who talks about goodness these days? People abuse Mahatma Gandhi if he was non-violent, or an advocate of non-violence, if he was a speaker of truth, or if he spoke mostly in his life only truth, or practiced the truth. Then people say, oh, he's a Mahatma, that means he's useless. And if you are suppose like Saddam Hussein or like Osama bin Laden, then you are worshipped. People, they have their banyans or they have their t-shirts, and on the face of the t-shirt you have the image of the terrorists, you have the image of the dictators, you have the image of the devils. Even in the restaurants and all that, they write devil dosa, masala dosa is low priced comparatively. Means it is very high for you, but for them it is low price. But if the name of the dosa is devil dosa, dosa is devil, devil dosa, or the hell of a dosa, that is one item on the menu, and you see that the prices or the charges for such dosas are higher. This is the taste of the people. They don't call you an angel, they call you devil of an angel. They don't want you to be gentlemen, but they would have derogatory words for the gentle people and all. I therefore would like the people of the entire world to to realize that life is short, no doubt. We have a very short life. Even 100 years, some people live, even that 100 years is equivalent to counting 100 from 1 to 100. So, see, 22, 23 began. Now, today, the first day of the third month of the year, 2 months already gone. And you sometimes imagine that it was only 1995, and how from 1995 now it is 2023, and time is so much fleeting, so much you can say fast in getting past, and time getting past. Time doesn't get past, we get past. We times getting past means we getting nearer the grave. And even this short life is not lived nicely, is not lived decently because of criminals. And criminals are bred by cinema. And criminals are bred because of dirty politics in most of the countries of the world, particularly in a country like India. Those people who don't know the need of washing their hands before they sit down to have their breakfast or lunch or dinner, they are the deciders. Majority of the people are uncivilized, and their votes matter. And good people, because they are afraid of getting to the crowd, and they know that the number of good people, those who really think for having a better society, a better country, a better world, they are in microscopic minority. Even if they vote, you can say wholeheartedly, they take troubles in forming the queues or standing in the queues. They vote. It is meaningless, essentially or substantially, because the number of bad people who believe in taking bribes and giving bribes, those who believe in being rich overnight by hook or by crook, And the people who believe in the primacy of money and no importance given to values, to speaking truth, to being gentlemanly or to being tolerant. If you are more tolerant, that means you are a banded, weak-minded person. You are not a bold person. You are weak. That is why you can say what you call you don't go into crimes. If you are courageous, strong, and bold, you will be what you call going into all kinds of dangers, committing crimes, even if you know that crimes commission not all right. They say where angels fear to tread. So most of us, we we become devils because devils are supposed to be, you can say, having the best of life. They are at the center. W.B.H. also once had said in one of his poems that this is the time when the worst people are the center. They have all the powers. They call the shots. And some good people, those who could unite, they are not uniting because their number is very small and they are far flung. They are, you can say what you call, not together. They are very few and far between. The result is they are cornered and they are silenced. They are forced to be silent. They can't speak anything. I therefore request all the people of the world, and when I mean all the people of the world, I mean especially sensible people of the world, reasonable people of the world, that please come together. If you are in a bus and two, three thugs and bad people come and start robbing, you just stand up and you call upon all the people that let us resist. Maybe in the process of resistance, one or two persons get killed, but that will be a good start. When people in other similar incidents, they come forward and they resist the robbers and the criminals, and instead of getting frightened by them, they happen to frighten the criminals. Gradually things will be all right. But well, it is not only the citizens. The main duty to prevent crimes and criminals from terrorizing people or from making the people live in hellish conditions. It is the duty of the elected representative, the government. They should come. Please be ashamed of yourself. Please think of yourself, what you have been doing as politicians, what you have been doing as cinema makers, filmmakers, what you have been doing as leaders of industries, what you have been doing as traders. Only cheating, only making money. And one day you have to go. Everybody has to go. So, as a resident of this world, be a bit sensible, be a bit reasonable, earn, but earn fairly. And fairly earned money will give you satisfaction. You won't have pricks of the conscience. Please listen to me. And because I want to work, I want to work as much as I can. And sometimes I want to work more than I feel I can. I want to live nicely. I want to live with nice people. I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to be disturbing to others. I want to live and I want others to live nicely. So, cinema makers, filmmakers, politicians, all the people who are rich or powerful because of bad means, please stop that spree. Please come back to sense. Reverse the situations uh, and let this world live at least for 500 years to begin with, peacefully, without conflicts, without wars, with justice. Those who are criminals, they should be persuaded to go off the world of the crime. They should be persuaded time and over again. If they don't heed, if they don't listen, then they have to be brought to justice. And good people, nice people have to be encouraged. They have to be given some sort of incentive. They have to be given at least this feeling that, well, they are good people and they are liked. But if good people are harassed, tortured, imprisoned, and criminals are out doing everything they like, and you make money, today you make money as a filmmaker, today you make money as a dirty or dishonest politician, today you make money as a dastardly businessman, industrialist. Tomorrow, your son will die of overdose of opium, overdose of drugs. Your daughter will, you can say, fall sick of living a life that she once thought of having a kind of heavenly life because she's lured by the outer things. She is lured by the money. She is lured by the ornaments. She is lured by the gadgets. Uh, our life, human life, needs clean water. Our life needs, you can say, cotton dresses or decent dresses to cover our bodies. Our life needs nutritious food. We don't need kgs of golds and sapphires and other, you can say, precious metals. We don't need to live in skyscrapers. We can live in a neat and clean house. We can have companions with the people who are sane and who are not criminals. So discourage the criminals, discourage the criminal tendency. Let us come together and let us realize that our mistakes have been, our lapses have been, our crimes have been too many and too thick, and now it is too much. Enough is enough. Let us not hope for the Kali Yuga to be mature. Kali Yuga has already surpassed what was predicted to happen during the Kartri Yuga or Kali Yuga, what the Kali Yuga, Sati Yuga, and all that. Worse situation is everywhere. So, countrymen and men of the world, and women of the world, and children of the world, teenagers of the world, people in all walks of life, please realize, let us live decently. Let us live in a peaceful way. Let us live in a morally upright way. Let us live in a correct way. Whether we are tall or short, we are white or black, we are brown or yellow, we are all human beings. Let us have faith in the universal nature. Let us have faith in goodness. That goodness begets goodness. Faith begets faith. And crimes committed give rise to more crimes. Villainy gives rise to more villainy. Dishonesty gives rise to more dishonesty. So don't be smart. Don't be clever. Don't be over rich. No need to be rich. Moderately rich is all right. Why to be over rich? Why to have these competitions at the world level? Oh, this year this is the richest man, and that also is a negative signal to people. Oh, I have to be the richest in the world, and in order to be known as the richest of the world, I can do anything. I should do anything because other people also have come to that level by getting into unfair means and unfair deals and all that. Man, listen to yourself. Woman, listen to yourself. Children, teenagers, listen to yourselves and see that your own welfare, your own real happiness, your own real satisfaction of life will come through good works, through restrained, suppose you can say, life, through the activities of certain moral principles. So the activities that are based on the principles, live and let others live. We have to live nicely and we have to enjoy other people living nicely. That is what is the trait of a good human being. Let us cultivate this trait. It is so much absent in us. It is so much, you can say, uh, so much lean and thin in us, so much fragile, so much frail. Let us make our good sense strong. Let us make our sense of humanity strong for ourselves, for others, and for all. God bless us all. Mama bless us all. Bye bye.